Hello class, welcome to my presentation on managing cultural diversity in aviation maintenance, repair, and overhaul. When you look at aviation, especially MROs, it's clear that the industry relies on people from all over the world. That's a strength because different backgrounds bring in new ways of thinking and problem solving, but it can be a challenge if those differences cause miscommunication. That's why creating an inclusive culture where everyone feels respected is so important. It makes the team stronger and helps everything run smoother. Diversity really matters in MROs for a few reasons. First, it makes it easier for employees to speak up about safety issues, which is huge in aviation. It also helps break down communication barriers that can get in the way of teamwork. Having people with different experiences means you get more creative solutions to complex problems. And honestly, companies that value diversity are more attractive to new talent, which is important when the industry is already dealing with labor shortages. When it comes to managing diversity in an MRO, leaders really set the tone. If managers show respect and fairness, employees are more likely to follow that example. They also need to create an environment where communication is open and people feel comfortable sharing ideas or concerns. Training like cultural awareness and bias prevention helps teams work together more smoothly across differences. What I found interesting is that Kinnison and Siddiqui emphasized that leadership in MROs isn't just about technical oversight. It's about building an organizational culture where values and inclusiveness actually align with the company's goals. That's what really drives long-term success. Even though diversity brings a lot of benefits, it also comes with challenges. Language differences, for example, can cause confusion in maintenance tasks where precision is everything. Cultural differences in how people view authority or conflict can also create tension within teams. Another challenge is the ongoing gender gap in technical aviation roles. There are reports that point out women are still underrepresented in maintenance and engineering. And on top of that, managers have to balance inclusiveness with the no-fail nature of aviation safety. Kinnison and Siddiqui also stressed this exact point, that safety always comes first, but good management makes sure inclusion fits into that framework instead of being left behind. Lufthansa is a good example of how diversity can be managed well. They have employees from more than 60 different countries, so they put a lot of effort into cultural training and leadership programs. They've also created employee groups to promote inclusiveness and give people a sense of community. For Lufthansa, diversity isn't just a nice idea. They connect it to innovation and customer satisfaction, which makes it a business advantage. Delta Tech Ops, the largest airline MRO in North America, has also made diversity part of its strategy. They partner with schools and universities to bring in diverse talent, and they focused on getting more women into maintenance and leadership roles. Their diversity programs aren't just for HR, they're part of Delta's whole company culture, which means that those values reach into MRO operations as well. Looking at more recent challenges, one big issue after COVID-19 was unequal rehiring. Some groups were slower to be brought back into the workforce, which raised equity concerns. Gender gaps are another ongoing problem. According to one report, women are still significantly underrepresented in maintenance roles. On top of that, global hiring pipelines create challenges because cultural expectations differ by region, which makes equity harder to maintain. And finally, public and regulatory pressure is increasing. Companies are now expected to be transparent about their diversity practices, which puts managers in the spotlight to show real progress. To deal with these challenges, a lot of companies have expanded recruitment to reach underrepresented groups. Training has also become more flexible, like online or modular programs, so more people can access it. Leaders are now being held accountable for diversity results, which helps keep progress moving. And some companies are even publishing public reports on diversity, which makes the process more transparent and also builds trust. If I were managing an MRO, there are a few things I'd try to do differently. One would be developing mentorship programs for employees from underrepresented groups to help them grow into leadership positions. Another would be connecting diversity efforts directly to safety culture. Since inclusive teams tend to communicate better and make fewer mistakes, expanding partnerships with global training organizations could also strengthen aviation pipelines worldwide. And finally, I'd make sure employees had regular opportunities to give feedback. Kinnison and Siddiqui point out that listening to employees is a critical part of workforce management, and it makes inclusiveness something people experience day to day rather than just reading about it in policies. When diversity is managed well, the benefits are clear. Employees feel more valued and engaged, which makes them more loyal. Communication improves, which makes the workplace safer. Having a range of perspectives leads to more innovation and adaptability. And companies that value diversity build stronger reputations, which helps them compete globally in the aviation enterprise. So to wrap things up, diversity is a real strength in aviation, not just something companies do for compliance. Managers are key to shaping the culture and making it inclusive. Yes, there are challenges, but with awareness and training, they can be managed. Looking ahead, the best approach is to connect diversity directly with safety and innovation because those are the foundations of success in MROs. For me, this project showed that diversity in MROs isn't just about fairness or compliance. It directly affects safety, employee engagement, and the company's reputation. If I were managing an MRO team, I'd push for mentorship programs, especially for employees who don't often get leadership opportunities. I'd also connect diversity goals to safety culture because inclusive teams communicate better and reduce risks. And then finally, I make sure to create regular feedback opportunities so employees feel involved in shaping workplace culture. That way, inclusiveness becomes something employees live every day and not just something written in policy. Thank you very much for listening, and this concludes my presentation. Have a great day.